Hey guys, it's Allison. So today's video is going to be a reading vlog, and it's going to be a different one today because I'm going to be buddy reading The Woman by Kristin Hannah. I am buddy reading with my friend Natasha, also known as Natasha's Bookshelf here on YouTube. I will definitely leave her channel down below and the video down below. You should definitely subscribe because she does everything bookish. Without further ado, I will put in a clip of her introducing herself.
Hi guys, I'm Natasha from Natasha's Bookshelf on YouTube, and I'm so excited to be buddy reading The Woman by Kristin Hannah with Allison. I think I'm going to rate this book 4 stars. That is my estimated rating. I think that I'm really going to enjoy it, but I'm not sure it's going to be 5 stars. So I'm excited to see what I think by the end of this video. I'm going to be texting Allison updates throughout my reading experience, and by the end of this video, you guys should know my full rating and review.
So this is going to be an interesting one for me because this is a historical fiction and I've never read historical fiction before. This is a coming of age story, female heroes during the Vietnam War, but this has 468 pages. Let's see how long this takes me to read. At the moment, I think I'm going to rate it a 3.5 to 4 stars. Let's see how it goes. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Give it a thumbs up, like it, comment down below any videos you want me to do next. Subscribe down below if you're new to my channel. Turn on post notifications to get an update every time I post a new video, and let's get started. This book has definitely started off on a good note. It has been going super duper quick. I'm already on page 50, chapter 5 or 6 at this point. And a lot of things have been happening. That's why it's been going by super quick. I like the book so far. So it was crazy. Yesterday, me and Natasha, we were both on chapter 6 and we both thought the same thing. It was literally so heartbreaking. So, like, I don't know, like the way Kristin Hannah just wrote, we were both like in tears. But yeah, and we weren't even 50 pages in, and that's how we were feeling. We were both like, oh my goodness. I'm just gonna put the text messages on the side real quick, but yeah, crazy. She was gonna do that. I had a feeling. I can't say what, but I had a feeling. I am literally halfway. I'm showing you the wrong way. Halfway through the book. Look at my bookmark. It says pause for dramatic effect. The craziness has crazied. So many things has happened. I don't know what's gonna happen because I thought the whole thing was gonna be her at war, but so much more is going on. Why would Kristin do this to us? Why? If you guys have read the book, you know what I'm talking about. Rye and Jamie, come on. Really just do that? She is the best nurse and they did that junk to her. Sorry, the baby's listening to her nursery rhyme. Just said, you might have taken our bodies, but you have not taken our minds. Good quote. So the other day I did read like 200 and something pages. I was so motivated, and then the next day came and yesterday I read maybe like 50, but I think I'm closing in on 400 pages soon, so that is good. That is my baby. But we are almost done with the book. Hopefully I can finish it today. Yesterday I didn't really have time in the night. I was trying to put her to sleep. She was not trying to go to sleep, so yeah. And by the way guys, I'm always wearing a black shirt. I am changing. This is like the third or fourth time in the video that I have a black shirt, I think. But just know I am changing. But let's see if I do end up finishing today. If you knew, what I just read right now is a whole shocker. I expected this to happen, but the next part, like page 362, was expected. But after that is a shocker. I can't believe that junk just happened. That is despicable. Despicable is the word that just came up to my brain. I feel like Kristin has done too much with this book. So many things have happened throughout this book already. Like, we're on page 418 and still things are going on. I got 50 pages left, so let's see how she wraps this up. But yeah, I'm like shocked every chapter, honestly. But yeah, let's see how my thoughts are gonna be at the end, because this is gonna be an interesting one. When the book is short, we're all like, why wasn't there more? You know what I mean? So yeah. Page 434. Just don't come back here the way you did, okay? Ask for help when you need it. Count on the people who love you, and mostly count on yourself. You deserve to be loved in that forever kind of way. Don't forget that. 30 more pages. So if you guys saw that last clip, I was in literal tears, guys. I did enjoy the book, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it kind of dragged on a bit. As I said in the video, I would rather it be long and give me all the details and don't leave me on a cliffhanger than giving me a short book and me wondering what happened. You know what I mean? It ended at a good note. It was definitely a really good book in general. There were a lot of details which I really enjoyed from Kristin, because you can literally imagine yourself in that hospital, in the jungle, at the protests, everything. This book was a whirlwind of emotions, twists and turns, very eye-opening. Not just men went through things, but women went through things as well, going through traumatic experiences. It's very gruesome, you know, and the noise you hear from the bombings and everything, like, it's literally crazy. You understood where they were coming from. All in all, I did enjoy the book. I rated it a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and I will insert Natasha's clip right now.
What's up guys, it's Natasha again. I'm back to give you guys my rating and review. So I finished The Women on the same day that Allison did, and let me tell you, this was a whirlwind. There were highs, but the lows were even lower. It was tough, it was emotional, it was gruesome, it was difficult to get through, and it was frustrating and aggravating and heartbreaking all at the same time. The moments that were so good and so heartfelt really kept you going throughout the story. It was fast paced. There was 2 parts, I believe, to this book, and each of them was filled with so much depth of emotion, so much history. It was very, very good. I would highly recommend. It was very difficult, so if you're into historical fiction, if you're into true stories, and if you're also capable of handling really sad and gruesome and difficult storytelling, this book is for you. Kristin Hannah's writing is phenomenal as always, and because this book is based on true stories and real people and real events, I'm not going to rate it because I wouldn't feel like that was appropriate. So with that being said, thanks Allison. It was so fun buddy reading with you, and definitely subscribe, like the video. You guys know what to do. It was fun talking to y'all. Peace.
Just a warning, guys, spoilers right here. I am going to talk about the whole entire book. So if you guys want to read the book, skip it, end the video now. If you guys read the book and want to know my thoughts, then keep on watching. Or if you just want to know what the book is about, around. Frankie has a brother. He goes off to the Vietnam War and they were very close. They were best friends. She decides to sign up for the draft too, go to the Vietnam War. But before she can even go, her brother dies in battle. She still decides to go. She is a very strong character in the book. She learned quick. She was just a really good character. And her friends as well. Not gonna lie, like her friends were her biggest supporters ever throughout the book. By the way, there were 2 parts of the book. Part 1 was her at war and everything, and part 2 was her after the war and at home and experiencing the PTSD. She still goes off to the war even though her parents don't want her to, because she's a woman. They want her to get married, have children, not do all the things that men do, you know what I mean? She goes off to war. She has roommates, Ethel and Barb, and they become her best friend. And then she meets a guy named Jamie. Jamie has a wife and a kid. They don't have any relationship with each other, even though they both do like each other. I really liked his character. He was very sweet, even though he was in like probably 30-40 pages of the book. Not that long. But he was very sweet every time. He was a doctor, a surgeon. Was he a neurosurgeon? I don't remember the specific kind of doctor he was. He was very sweet. Frankie went through her first bombing like not even a week into being at the hospital in Vietnam, and he literally protected her. He was just there for her throughout the parts where he was in, and then Kristin killed him off. He died in battle, so she was very traumatized, very upset. Rai shows up. Rai is her brother's friend from the Navy. Actually, she liked him from the beginning of the book. He was the one to kind of push her into going to the war in a way, because he said women can be heroes too. And that was one of my favorite lines in the book. And I felt like she was inspired to go through that, but then also to be with the people at the hospital at their last breaths, because she felt like, I felt like she thought that her brother didn't have anyone when he passed away. They literally had no body to bury for him. So she was like very upset about that. She meets Rai. He says he's engaged, but he breaks off his engagement. And then they have a relationship. And then she extends her period of time in the war for another year. And that happens. It goes through the year. She goes back home. He has to come back in like 2-3 weeks after her. And then she was doing his welcome party. And then she finds out he was KIA, killed in action. And she was very upset about that. It like literally broke her, because that was the love of her life. I thought Jamie was the love of her life, even though they didn't have no relationship. I really loved him. It was Rai. She had to, learn how to move on. It was very hard for her. And she went through a lot. When she came home from the war, she found out that her father was telling people that she was actually in Florence, Italy, studying abroad instead of being at the war. And that was very upsetting for her, because she was literally there and he didn't want to talk about it. The mother didn't want to talk about it. And I hated the fact that she tried to get help with multiple people. And they were like, there weren't women in Nam, like stuff like that to her. And that was very upsetting to me. Like, I was like, excuse me? Frankie had a point. She said, it's good that you never met one of us, because that means you were like in like serious trouble, like in going downhill from there. That's why they were saying that. Or they just didn't respect women the same as they did with their peers. I don't know. She ran away from home. Her best friends were her literal support systems. She went to go live with them for a while. She met this guy at a protest named Henry. She didn't want to have any relationships anymore with anyone, just because she was over loved. When she met Henry, she just was his friend. But eventually, push came to shove. She needed love. He needed love. And they got together. Then she got pregnant. They were going to get married because they couldn't have the baby without being married. She was watching the TV at one point, and the Vietnam War had ended. All the POWs were coming back home as well, which are prisoners of war. And literally, she sees Rai. I'm like, I was shook when that happened. I was like, I knew either Jamie or Rai had to come back, and Rai came back. Then she went to go visit him at the airport to like welcome him home. No, he went straight to his wife and his kid. Where did they come from, you ask? that was his high school sweetheart, and she was pregnant when he went off to the war. So yeah, he never broke off anything. He lied to Frankie. She was like, he's a liar, this and that, but I'm in love with him. And I was like, girl, leave him. Forget about him. And she couldn't. She couldn't. Her friends were telling her to forget about him, that he was a liar. Don't ever go back to him. Don't talk to him, blah, blah, blah. No. So after she saw Rye and the wife and the daughter all together, she got stressed, I believe, and ended up losing her baby. And then she broke up with Henry because she didn't want to be with him really. Like, she was still in love with Rye and she was very depressed. One day she was sitting at the beach by her house, and he's at the beach with his wife and his kid. And she follows them all the way back to their house, watches them, and Rye sees her and she dips. She drives away. He shows up at her house. She don't want no relationship with him. So she's like trying to be all calm and collected, even though she loves him. And then eventually she gives in. They get together. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave my wife, blah, 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 and this and that. And then at one point he engages to her. Tell me how. Frankie walks to the hospital one day and they're like, oh yeah, Lieutenant Walsh is having a baby, blah, blah. And then she's like, who the heck is that? She goes into the hospital and then she finds out that freaking Rye's whole wife was pregnant the whole time. They were having a relationship and they had another kid together. So he lied to her that entire time. Like, what kind of guy is this? Like, what? I don't know what happened there, but she left him. Like, she was still doing the same thing, drinking, popping pills, all that. So I think there's multiple times that she wants to herself. And one scene, she went into the water, like surfing. I think she was imagining she was like having a dream or whatever, but this was real life. And she went into the water and then they found her in the ocean and then they took her in and then they brought her to a psych ward. And guess who was in the psych ward? Henry. Henry is a psychiatrist, I forgot to mention. And he had a whole nother relationship now. He was with someone else. But he was literally there for her. He knew what she went through and he helped her get better. And he said like he would always be there for her as a friend if she needed anything. And I was like, this is a true man right here. She got better. She went back home. She was living her life. And then the Vietnam War memorial came out and she went to go see and honor her brother and, you know, everybody that had passed away during the Vietnam War. And she was looking at her brother's name on the memorial. So in my head, I'm like, oh, she has to go see Jamie's name at one point because, you know, that was her friend. She loved him, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, he comes up behind her, guys. He comes up behind her. And I was like, are you serious? I was like, is this a dream? That's why I started crying because I was like, I was so happy for her because Jamie was my #1 top pick besides Henry. But he literally came back and he said, yeah, he was married, but he's not married no more, blah, blah, blah. Like, are you married? Do you have kids? She said no. And like, they literally walked off into the sunset together. I was like, I'm happy for her. I'm glad that it ended that way. And honestly, I literally wanted Rye and Jamie. Like, I had a feeling either Rye or Jamie was gonna come back. I didn't expect both of them to come back. So when Rye came back, I was like, okay, Jamie's not gonna come back. But no, Jamie came back too. I was like, are you kidding? What? But thinking about Jamie, like at the end, like literally wants to send me into tears again. So if you guys haven't read the book, I recommend you guys to read this book. This was definitely a book to read. This was my first historical fiction and it literally on the top. And my first Kristin Hannah book. I didn't even notice that she wrote The Nightingale or Nightingale, whatever. Just saw that book all over TikTok, YouTube, bookstores. If you haven't read a historical fiction or want to get into a different genre, this is the book for you. I hope you guys took around to the end. Comment down below a helicopter emoji. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy the video and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.